shot day. I haven't done a video since the 1st, so there have been a couple different weigh-ins and shots. So on the 1st, I was 241.2, and then on the 4th, I was 240.8. On the 7th, I was 239.8, and today I was 238.4. Looking back over my numbers, this 238.4 is the lowest I've been. So I have been going down again. Today I took 7.5 milligrams, and I've changed my schedule to be every 7 days, which is a typical schedule. I don't know how long I'll stay at the 7.5, maybe just 2 weeks, and then I'll bump it to 10. It kind of just depends. If I'm still losing weight at my next weigh-in, then I will just keep it 7.5. I'll still kind of play around with that. I did start the hormone replacement therapy, HRT. I have a estrogen patch, which is pretty low. I think it was like 0.25 milligrams. It's super small. Yeah, maybe you guys can see it. Let's see if I can. That's right. There. You see this tiny little thing? That is the estrogen patch. It's like that big, just right there. So, and then I'm on progesterone. It's a pill, and that's nightly. It's 100 milligrams, I think. So it's a pretty mild dose. Now, if for some reason that's what's been kickstarting the weight loss again, I will be relatively pleased about that. I don't know. We'll see. I will say I don't feel like I've been overly hot flashy since I started. I only started it 4 days ago, something like that. I don't know if it's psychosomatic or if that's long enough for it to kick in. I'm supposed to change the patch twice a week, so I have it. I think I'm supposed to change it tomorrow, maybe. I have it worked out where it's like Fridays and Tuesdays, I think is what it is. Health-wise, I've been feeling fine. I think I tweaked a nerve or something, because my left leg, like going down the back of it and then through the inside of my calf, oh my goodness, it hurt. Like it was just on fire, and then like I would rub it and it would make it feel better, but it flippin' hurt. And I have one of those percussive massagers from Costco. I was using that, and it freaking hurt while I was doing it, but it like hurt so good, kind of a situation. So it felt better afterwards. And then I have a TENS machine, so I put that on my butt area, basically, in my left flank area, and then I went to sleep. And the next morning, my leg didn't hurt, but then my this area and all the way like down my arm, my arm was killing me. I was like trying to do exercises all day. I was stretching it. I was trying to do everything. Every once in a while, I would move, and I'd hear a little click, click, like just a tiny little. Like I could feel something shifting, and it felt better, but only briefly, and then it would start to hurt again. So I was pretty sure that I had a pinched nerve somewhere, but today it's felt okay. As I say that, it's a little achy, but hopefully it'll work itself out, whatever it is. I'm a little leery to go to the chiropractor. I used to go to the chiropractor all the time, and I do believe that it helps, but I've had this weird thing where when I put my head down, like right here, it almost feels like there's like a tendon or a vein or something that kind of feels like it rolls, like it moves. And my husband's really against chiropractic work. He thinks it's just quackery. But sometimes they really adjust your neck hard. And since I don't know what that weird rolly feeling is, I'm a little nervous to have the neck adjusted because I don't want to die. You know, I've heard horror stories. I'm sure we've all heard them. Adjustments gone wrong. So I'm just kind of dealing with it and trying to do what I can at home for it. I got my, well, not have it. I'm supposed to be getting my face stuff still from the group buy. I did get another round of my Tirzepatide in today, which is good because my dad's vial is almost gone. And I was like, well, I guess I could use my 15s because I have a couple kits of 15s that I was kind of hanging on to, just for like a rainy day or whatever, just on the off chance that it's hard to get the Tirzepatide. But I did get the other stuff in, so I won't have to use that. I'm really hoping that I don't get a lot of acid reflux or bloating from doing the 7.5. Last time I was doing 7.5, I had acid reflux, I had sulfur burps, I had bloating. I'm hoping since I've been doing it so regularly, I have enough built up in my system that it's not going to see, because really I was doing 6 milligrams 3 days ago, and now I'm doing 7.5 milligrams. I don't know. I'm just my own guinea pig, right? So we'll see how that goes. Been working a lot. They just dropped more hours today, so I was able to get hours through like the 25th, I think is what it is. So I scheduled myself for 38 hours next week. That's the most I've ever done here. I haven't worked like a 40-hour week in years, so I'm not looking forward to it, but I am looking forward to the money. It's nice getting paid weekly. So I do look forward to that. My skin has felt super tight lately. I'm assuming it's from all the stuff that I've been doing, but like right here and right here, I'm definitely red today. I did a microneedling, derma rolling thing yesterday. So I've been doing, this area because I'm getting old lady-ish and wrinkly, so I'm trying to, my husband kind of makes fun of me. He thinks it's silly. He's like, I just go to the outdoors to feel rejuvenated. And I'm like, well, we can't all get what we need from the sun. So, but I think all in all, my skin's looking tighter. Like when I go to the side, I would like this to be, flatter, of course, but whether it be weight loss or cosmetology, who knows? But yeah, I started watching a TV series called Banshee. It's pretty good. It's actually from, I don't know, 5 to 10 years ago, I think. It was on for a number of seasons, like 4 seasons. I saw a short on YouTube for it, and so I went through the comments, and then someone mentioned what the series was. So it's a Cinemax series. There's definitely skin. There is definitely sweaty, dirty moments so I cannot watch this show like in the family room where my kids are around. My husband seemed interested in it when I was watching the first episode, whether it's from the storyline or the somewhat softcore scenes going on. Who's to say? But we've been watching that, and it's actually pretty good. It's super gritty. Like, it's a dark show. The premise of it is this guy gets out of prison. He goes to this small town and takes over this deceased sheriff's persona, because nobody has met this sheriff. He was new to town and ended up dying, so this guy takes his place. I'm not giving anything away. That happens in the first, half hour. But there's a lot of violence in it, and there's definitely a lot of sex. So if you like violence and sex, check out Banshee. The storyline itself is pretty good. I like it so far. We're only 4 or 5 episodes in, but I think it's pretty well done. But yeah, it's spicy. It's a spicy show. What else have I been watching? I'm not sure. I have to look. I watched a movie called Bama Rush. It's about the sorority rushings for Alabama State University, whatever the Roll Tide area is. It's not as good. I was hoping it would be kind of like the Dallas Cowboys cheerleader Netflix show. I mean, this is a movie documentary. It's kind of like a behind the scenes to rushing on campus. I did not think it was that great. The people didn't really make me feel for them, for their plight to try to get into these sororities. It seems like it's a lot of work. It's like a lot of effort to be in these sororities. So, but that's basically all I got from that. Then I watched another movie called Abe. It has a young Noah, I can't think of what his name is, Noah Schnapp. He is from Stranger Things. Actually, all. But his whole deal is he's half Muslim, half Jewish, and so he's trying to come to terms with his uh, heritage, basically, because half his parents' side of the family want him to be one way, the other half want him to be the other way. Um, he loves to cook. He just likes to do food stuff. It's pretty cute. I think he's 12 or something. He's supposed to be in this one. Um, did a bunch of that puzzle that I worked on before with the birds. I finally got it done. It took me like 4 days. 21 pieces were missing. 21. Like, at that point, don't donate it. Just put it in the trash. That's what I did. I took a picture of it for posterity, bitched about it on my Facebook, and then I threw it out. There is no reason that people should be donating 21 piece missing puzzles. I was so pissed. It probably took me longer to do that because of the missing pieces. Yeah, so I did a bunch more puzzles, and I was happy about that. But yeah, I mean, the next like three I did were like 300 piece puzzles. It was, that 1,000 piece was ridiculous. So then I watched The Hitman's Bodyguard, has Ryan Reynolds and Samuel Jackson. That was pretty funny. It had a good story. The action I thought was well done. The characters played off of each other well. Salma Hayek plays Samuel Jackson's wife. So it was a comedic and entertaining action film. So then I decided to watch The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. And I did not care for it. Ryan Reynolds' character in that one, he was like such a sad sack. His character in the first one was overly confident, bordering on cocky. In the second one, it's like he lost all of his confidence, and he just like, who am I? And now I need to come to terms with myself and find out who I no, it did not work for me. I didn't care for Salma Hayek's character in it. Just the whole premise of it, didn't care for. So the first one's good. I cannot recommend the second one. I am going to see a play tonight. It's one of the Broadway plays. It's called Funny Girl. It's a Streisand movie that maybe you've seen. I'm wanting to say I've heard some of the songs a time or two, but I don't really know what it's about, and I haven't like listened to the Broadway music. I don't know if the songs that are in the movie are the same one that are in the Broadway show. I don't know. So it should be a pretty entertaining night. We're going to go to this pizza place that last time I was there, I've been there twice. I adore it. They have like fairly small pizzas. Like they're personal style pizzas, right? And they're flat. They're fire baked, and they have like these, I don't know if it's sourdough that they use or what it is, but the crust is like chewy on the outside, but really quite thin, which is how I like a pizza, because really I just want it for the toppings. I don't need just a crap ton of bread. So I'm excited because I haven't been there like 2 years or something. I think it's been a while, because it's downtown and I don't want to have to drive into town to do that. I took my dad in today for all of his heart stuff, so he had to have a stress test, cardiac stress test, and we figured he would have his echo on the same day, so I assumed it was all going to be done. But when I mentioned it, they were just like, no, we don't have that on the books. And he had already gone through like half of this first procedure. They like inject you with this radioactive tracer basically, and then you wait, I don't know, 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Then they take you back and they do a CT. Like there's like this tent thing that goes over, and then it goes under, and then you go through the donut, and then they do that. And then they take you across the halls, how we did it, and inject some other kind of something. I don't know what that one is. And then they have you wait for like 45 minutes. And then they have you do a last round of CT scans. So it was at 9 o'clock. I was scheduled myself to work at noon because I figured, oh, this is not going to take that long. Well, the whole time we're trying to figure out the echo thing, they're like, you guys haven't had an echo yet? I'm like, no. And they're like, well, we kind of like to have an echo before we even do this process, like any of the process, to make sure that you're medically sound to do this process. And I'm like, So they brought in like a portable before they did the thing that like stresses your heart, the second round of dye stuff, because what it does is it lowers your heart rate and it freaks your heart out basically. So then your heart starts pumping harder because it's trying to do its work. So that's the stress of it. Um, yeah. Anyway, so I go upstairs to see what the heck's going on, and she's like, well, what's his last four, because it's a VA. And so I thought that I knew what it was, but I didn't. So then I had to go back downstairs to go into his room to get his last four of his social, and then go back upstairs so I can tell her. And she's like, no, we don't have anything booked. So, and then she says that I'm not on his like released information release stuff, so she really can't talk to me anyway about this. And I'm like, we signed up for this like 2 years ago. We put me on his papers. And she's like, well, I don't see it. So I'm like, fine. So I go back down there. They finally get this portable echo to make sure that his heart is stable enough to do the stress part of it. And that takes forever. And then they finally do the stressor thing. And then they're like, all right, you've got 45 minutes, go with God, basically. So he couldn't have caffeine or eat anything. But then they said, okay, go get caffeine because that actually counteracts this stressor thing that we did to you. So he's like, all right. So then we go down to the ground floor. And no, Benny. Nope, go on. Nope, go on. So we go down to the ground floor and we get a coffee. Only my coffee, my Frappuccino, did not have coffee in it. It was just the Frappuccino, which is weird. Like, why get a Frappuccino? Like, I will ask you for no coffee if I didn't want coffee. That was the whole thing. So then we go to the information release section to make sure that I am on his paperwork because we have, 45 minutes to kill. So we get in there and he's like, no, you're on here. And I was like, are you kidding me? He's like, no, I see you. You're, right here. And tell her upstairs that you're under this portion of the thing. So I was like, fine. So then we go back upstairs. And my dad's like super winded at this point because whatever that stressor medication was like really wiped him out. So we go and we're going to wait like the next 10 minutes until they're ready to do the final CT scan. Except then they're like, oh, they were able to get you in for the full echo. So you got to go back upstairs and go get the full one. They're able to squeeze you in. So we're like, all right, by now it's like past 1 o'clock. Or past noon. So I'm not making my shift. And so then I take him back upstairs and we get him like signed in. And I told the lady, I'm like, oh, by the way, I went down there and he said that I am on it and this is where you find it. And she's like, well, you're not on it on my screen. She's like, if released for information, you're going to be in the upper right-hand section. And I was like, oh, well, he said it was under whatever the terminology was. And she's like, yeah, that's where I'm looking. Giving me some attitude. So now I don't know what the hell because the guy in the information release said, no, you're clearly on here. Just tell her. It was kind of a moot point because my father was with me at that point, and so obviously I was able to have access to his care. But in a case where I have to make a phone call and be like, hey, what's going on with this? I would like them just to be able to find me in their system and say, yeah, obviously I can talk to you. He said that we could. You're his daughter. Here you are. So the echo takes longer than I think it's going to. We're definitely past the 55-minute mark of when they said, we should come back at. We're supposed to come back like at 12:55 or something like that. So finally finish up and we're wheeling. He's in a wheelchair at this stage because they wheeled him up there. So I take him back down to the place. He finishes up his thing. I got home like at 1:45. So almost 2 hours late for my 4-hour shift. Got my first call a little bit ago. Had nothing to do with what I do. It was a guy who had been in an auto accident over the weekend, and he was trying to tell me about how they said it's his fault and it's not. So I finally had to kind of cut in and be like, my guy, I don't have anything to do with this. And he's like, oh, I've got so many phone numbers written down. So that was my first call of the day. And yeah, it's just been, it's been a long day. Like doing all this stuff, having to get up early, to drive to my dad's house, to take him across town, to do these things, to have to go up and down, to have to come back, to work for a couple hours. Immediately after work, I'm going to my sister's and we're going to drive to the play or to the dinner and then to the play together. The play is going to take, however many hours, then I got to come home. It's a long day. It's a long day today. But, I guess it's good to keep busy. Okay, guys. I will be back I guess in 7 days, since I have a 7-day timer on my calendar now instead of every 3 days. But I guess I will see you when I see you. Bye.